It's March 6th here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with the stories making the headlines at this hour, starting with U.S. tariff pressure on South Korea. U.S. President Donald Trump is now accusing Seoul of having an average tariff that is 4 times higher than Washington's tariff. South Korea's national security advisor is in Washington, D.C. for what he anticipates as a good outcome from talks with U.S. officials on tariff and trade issues. The Trump administration has decided to give automakers a 1-month exemption from the newly slapped tariffs on Canada and Mexico, a move seen as a protection for its local auto industry. Consumer prices here in the country rose at a 2% level for the second straight month in February, as a weaker local currency pushes up import prices. South Korea is actively keeping watch on the second Trump administration's careless tariff policy. A national security advisor, Shin Won-sik, is now in Washington, D.C. for a win-win trade talks with U.S. officials. Our Lee Seung-jae leads us this morning.
National Security Advisor Shin Won-sik arrived at Dulles International Airport on Wednesday, en route to Washington to hold talks with his U.S. counterpart, Mike Waltz, and other senior U.S. officials. He's expected to discuss bilateral cooperation in security, the economy, the shipbuilding industry, and more. Amid recent comments from U.S. President Donald Trump that South Korea's average tariff is 4 times higher than that of the U.S., trade and tariff issues could top the agenda. While the security official said it would be inappropriate to comment on Trump's remarks, he stressed that there are almost no tariffs between the two countries. Shin also expressed optimism, anticipating a good outcome, saying that the two allies seek a win-win result on the back of continued discussions between officials from the two countries. Responding to a question about whether he would discuss the possibility of President Trump engaging in direct talks with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, Shin said all North Korea-related issues will be discussed. He noted that during a recent G7 foreign ministerial meeting held in Munich, Seoul confirmed through working channels that the Trump administration has stressed the need to closely communicate with Seoul on North Korean issues, including the possibility of a Trump-Kim summit. On whether the Trump administration could seek a significant rise in South Korea's share of the cost for stationing U.S. troops in Korea, Shin said no discussions have taken place on the matter, but said that the two countries would smoothly entangle the issue based on the spirit of the long-standing alliance. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
And the security official's U.S. visit comes after Trump insisted in his congressional speech that South Korea's tariffs are 4 times higher than his country's. But South Korea's government says under the South Korea-U.S. FTA, that is not a valid statement. Our Kim Bo-kyung reports.
U.S. President Trump targeted some countries over what he called unfair trade practices, specifically including South Korea. This was during his first address to a joint session of Congress since his inauguration in January on Tuesday local time.
South Korea's average tariff is 4 times higher. Think of that, 4 times higher. And we give so much help militarily and in so many other ways to South Korea.
Trump did not give specific evidence of his assertion, and South Korea's trade ministry was quick to rebut this. According to the Trade Ministry, Washington and Seoul have eliminated tariffs on most goods under the Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreement that took effect in 2012, making its average tariff rate on imports from the U.S. stand at 0.79% in 2024. This rate is set to drop further this year in accordance with an annual tariff reduction plan stipulated in the agreement. For reference, the ministry added that the tariff rate on imported manufactured goods from the U.S. is 0%. In terms of what Trump said, the ministry assumed he would have been referring to Korea's most favored nation treatment tariff, which stood at 13.4% in 2024. That is 4 times that of the U.S.'s 3.3%. But this rate applies to WTO member countries without bilateral agreements and thus is not applied to goods imported from the U.S. Amid such a potential tug-of-war on tariff schemes, Trump said he aims to resurrect America's shipbuilding industry, planning to offer special tax incentives to bring the industry back to the U.S., while also putting pressure on South Korea to participate in a natural gas pipeline project in Alaska.
My administration is also working on a gigantic natural gas pipeline in Alaska, among the largest in the world, where Japan, South Korea, and other nations want to be our partner with investments of trillions of dollars each.
One expert says, however, that taking part in such projects would not be able to fully prevent Trump's reciprocal tariff scheme, and neither would the FTA be able to do it.
Trump threatened to impose a 25% tariff on Colombia and actually did on Canada and Mexico. All 3 countries have FTAs with the U.S., so having an FTA does not necessarily mean Korea can avoid such a measure.
Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
In the meantime, Trump has granted a 1-month exemption to automakers from the 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada as part of efforts to protect American industries from economic harm. Lee has more.
The United States announced on Wednesday that it would temporarily exempt automobiles from the 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada for 1 month. According to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt during a briefing, the decision followed conversations between President Trump and the heads of the big 3 automakers, General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis.
But at the request of the companies associated with USMCA, the president is giving them an exemption for 1 month so they are not at an economic disadvantage.
The tariffs were implemented starting on March 4th local time, with failure to deal with the trafficking of drugs, particularly fentanyl, into the U.S. cited as a reason. Earlier the same day, President Trump also spoke with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. In a social media post, Trump mentioned that he called Trudeau to discuss potential actions regarding the tariffs, and the call ended on a somewhat friendly note. He added that he told Trudeau that Canada's efforts to curb the flow of fentanyl were not enough. Canada, which had swiftly imposed 25% tariffs on $20 billion worth of U.S. imports in retaliation to the U.S. tariffs, took further action. On Wednesday, it officially filed a consultation request with the World Trade Organization, citing the unjustified U.S. tariffs on Canada. This means the disputing parties have 60 days to resolve the issue through consultations, and if no agreement is reached, they can request a ruling from a WTO panel. Lee Eun-hee, Arirang News.
The U.S. and Ukraine are organizing new working-level talks after U.S. President Donald Trump suspended military and intelligence support for Ukraine. Will the two sides be able to make up for the Trump-Zelensky bust-up last week? Let's turn to Professor Chanjin this morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. In a letter from Zelensky to Trump, Zelensky said he is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring what he calls a lasting peace closer. Would you say Trump's threat to halt military aid and now intelligence supports worked here?
Yes, I think so. His threat to stop military aid put a lot of pressure on Ukraine. So if his goal is to push Ukraine into negotiating table, then yes, it worked a lot. But this does not mean Ukraine is negotiating because it fully agrees with Donald Trump. It may have no other choice. So Ukraine is now in a very difficult position. The United States has been Ukraine's biggest supporter, giving over $75 billion in military aid, including Javelin, Patriot missile, and Abrams tanks. So without this support, Ukraine is unable to defend itself. So recently, the U.S. aid has been slowed down, causing some shortages of important weapons. At the same time, Russia is getting stronger, increasing its troops and also producing more weapons. So with fewer options and more pressure on the battlefield and also from Donald Trump, Ukraine has no other options but to negotiate. And Donald Trump, instead of giving military support, he is focusing on economic deal like the mineral agreement. And this could bring U.S. investment, but without stronger military protection. And in this situation, Ukraine may still be at the risk of a future Russian attack. So while stopping military aid, it worked. So it forced Ukraine to negotiate. However, it is still unclear whether this will lead to lasting and also real peace to Ukraine.
Well, that's why European nations are skeptical about. Now, are you saying Zelensky thinks signing a minerals deal is the best bet for his country for now?
Yes, Zelensky is in a difficult position now. So with the U.S. military aid stopped and limited help from Europe, he has few other choices. So his top goal is protect Ukraine's independence and get stronger security guarantee from the United States. But right now, the United States is focusing more on economic deal rather than military support. So signing the mineral deal may not be what Zelensky really wants. So, but it might be the only way to maintain the American participation and involvement in this war, and also to avoid the complete isolation. So this deal allows American companies to invest in Ukraine's natural resources, and Trump argues that this investment will stop Russia from attacking again in the future. But I think without clear security promise, this deal alone will not fully protect Ukraine. So this is the only option Ukraine Zelensky has right now, but I don't think it is the best option.
Well, Professor Che, I'd like to talk about how Ukrainians feel about this whole minerals deal. Zelensky says that nobody wants peace more than Ukrainians. Will Ukrainians be happy once a deal is secured then?
Okay, so the mineral deal may be necessary for Ukraine at this moment, but it's unlikely to make Ukrainians really happy. What Ukrainians really want is a real security, a stable future, and the total restoration of its independence. However, the current situation makes achieving these goals very difficult. So right now, Ukraine is under extreme pressure. The mineral deal may help Ukraine economy and also keep U.S. involvement, but it does not guarantee security or prevent future Russian attack. So many Ukrainians will see this as a compromise made out of necessity, not a true victory. For peace to be meaningful, the Ukrainians need more than economic deal. They need real protection and a clear plan to rebuild their country after the end of the war. So without that, this deal alone will not bring real satisfaction or peace of mind to the Ukrainian people.
Well, some reports say that the U.S. and Ukraine may sign the minerals deal in the coming week, next week. What next in line after the much debated minerals deal is sealed then? I mean, what moves will Trump make to bring peace to Ukraine?
If the mineral deal is finalized, Trump's next move will likely be pushing for a quick peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. But his focus seems to be on making a quick deal, rather than ensuring real and lasting peace. So Trump has already said he's open to direct talk with Vladimir Putin and claims that Russia is now ready to negotiate with the United States. So he might try to secure a ceasefire without forcing Russia to withdraw from its occupied land. And if Ukraine is pressured to accept a deal where Russia keeps its force in its occupied territory, Ukraine could remain at risk of a future Russian attack. And at the same time, Trump may continue reducing American military presence in Ukraine while telling European countries to take more responsibility. The Trump has already criticized Europe for not doing enough to protect Ukraine, even though European countries do not have enough military power to fully replace America. So it seems to me that Trump's goal is to ending the war in a way that benefits American economic interests without avoiding long-term security commitments. So this is truly Trump style. But the big question is whether this will bring real stability or just freeze the conflict, leaving Ukraine in a weaker position.
So you mentioned there'll be a peace signing process afterwards. Now, does that include Ukraine's involvement in the peacemaking talks?
I think Ukraine will probably invite it to peace talk, and they will have a chair in this process. But the main concern is whether Ukraine will have much influence during this negotiation process. So far, most negotiations have been between the United States and Russia, and Ukraine has been forced to accept decisions made by other great powers. So if the United States push for a quick ceasefire without protecting Ukraine's sovereignty and complete security, the peace talk could become a deal decided by others rather than a fair negotiation involving Ukraine. So Zelensky has always emphasized that Ukraine must be actively involved, and no agreement can be accepted without its approval. However, the United States military aid stopped and limited help from Europe. Ukraine does not have much power to resist this pressure from the United States and also Russia. If peace talks happen under this condition, Russia may get more of what it wants from Ukraine. So while Ukraine will likely be at the table, I don't expect it will have a real say during the negotiation process. So it is more likely that Ukraine will be forced to accept terms decided by two great powers. I'm really sorry I cannot bring more positive news today.
Alrighty, Professor Choi, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
In related news, a U.S. Defense Ministry official has confirmed the additional deployment of North Korean troops to Russia. According to a U.S.-funded news outlet, Radio Free Asia, on Thursday, the exact number of troops wasn't specified, but the official stated that they are intended to replace those killed on the front lines. On Wednesday, South Korea's National Intelligence Service also said that it's closely monitoring potential North Korea-Russia drone cooperation amid speculation that North Korean troops are being trained by Russia in drone operations and tactics. Consumer prices in South Korea remain high, with inflation in the 2% range for the second month straight. Data from Statistics Korea on Thursday showed that the country's consumer price index, a key gauge of inflation, rose 2% in February year-on-year. This is a slight decline compared to the 2.2% growth seen in January, following 3 consecutive months of rising inflation figures. While prices of fresh produce saw a decline for the first time since March 2022, the cost of living index, measuring 140 items often bought by consumers, rose by the largest amount since July last year. Exports of Korean food products, especially ramen and ready-made foods, have increased significantly over the past 10 years. According to the Korea Trade Statistics Promotion Institute's report on K-food export trends in the past 10 years released on Thursday, exports of Korean food items rose from $3.51 billion in 2015 to $7.02 billion in 2024. On average, exports of food products rose 8% annually during the same period. Now, by item, ramen was on top, with exports worth $1.36 billion, followed by ready-made food at $980 million, beverages at $940 million, and health food at $820 million. Now, by country, the U.S. was the top country importing Korean food items, followed by China and Japan. In Barcelona now, this year's MWC is not just for big firms to shine. It's also staged for startups to show off their innovative ideas and gain global recognition. Our Lee Soo-jin tells us more.
Small businesses are competing to make their mark in this dedicated space nestled within the world's largest mobile event. This is where innovation begins.
4 years from now is a startup event on the sidelines of the Mobile World Congress, where inventors showcase their latest creations, some award-winning, some intriguing, all with the goal of making it to the main event 4 years from now.
And those award-winning startups generating buzz at the event include ones from South Korea. Dr. Presso, an AI-powered mental health app, is the only Korean startup nominated this year for MWC's Global Mobile Awards, often called the Oscars of the mobile industry. I tested its AI by pretending to feel down.
I don't know what's wrong and nothing seems to change. I'm starting to lose hope.
The technology quickly analyzed my voice, offering personalized recommendations about what I can do. Another South Korean startup, Hakak, was named a top 20 finalist at the 4 Years From Now Awards for its AI-powered platform, which provides customized responses based on sensitive data in industries like healthcare and insurance.
Our biggest challenge has been gaining global recognition. We hope to use this opportunity to find business opportunities abroad.
And as 4 Years From Now showcases cutting-edge startup innovations, it attracts industry leaders seeking promising startups for collaboration.
We're interested in startups with innovative AI technology. One of the biggest challenges that startups face is finding the right industry to apply their technology, and that's where big corporations like us come in.
One of the 15 startups SK Telecom is working with is Twat, an AI-powered visual assistance app that won Global Awards in 2022 and 2024. The app gives real-time voice descriptions for visually impaired users when they take a photo of their surroundings or objects.
A person's hand is visible on the monitor holding a cell phone, and English is written on the screen.
Another startup, Hudson AI, uses AI to provide dubbing that captures nuances like tone and emotion. The company, like the other startups, is also optimistic about the new opportunities and connections that 4 years from now will bring as they take their first steps toward the global market. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News, Barcelona.
Good morning, I'm Yoon Se-young, and this is The World Now. The Trump administration has reportedly been holding secret negotiations with the Palestinian militant group Hamas in an effort to secure the release of American hostages held in Gaza. U.S. Special Envoy for Hostage Affairs Adam Boehler reportedly met with Hamas representatives in Doha, Qatar in recent weeks. However, it remains unclear who represented Hamas in these discussions. The United States has designated Hamas as a terrorist organization since 1997 and has long refrained from direct engagement. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office released a statement confirming that Israel has conveyed its stance on direct talks with Hamas to the United States, but did not provide further details. Meanwhile, Hamas has not responded to requests for comment on the reported negotiations. Over in Serbia, at least 3 lawmakers were injured on Tuesday when opposition politicians protesting against the government and expressing support for ongoing student-led demonstrations threw smoke bombs and let off tear gas. Parliament on the day was set to confirm Prime Minister Milos Vucevic's resignation and vote on the dismissal of Speaker Ana Brnabić. The scenes come as protesters in Serbia have shown discontent with the country's hardline president, Aleksandar Vučić, with allegations of corruption, which escalated after a railway station roof collapsed and killed 15 people last November. The Vučić administration has responded to the protest with a mix of crackdowns and concessions. Following the unrest, Brnabić declared that Serbia's parliament will not back down and condemned the lawmakers who disrupted the session, calling them terrorists. Indonesia is using cloud seeding technology to mitigate severe flooding in the capital Jakarta and surrounding areas. The heavy rains, which began on Monday local time, have left at least 1 person dead and forced thousands to evacuate. Officials warn that the downpours could continue until next Tuesday and have implemented precautionary measures to minimize further damage. One of those measures is cloud seeding, where salt or other chemicals are released into clouds to induce rainfall. Authorities are using cloud seeding to divert rain away from flood-affected areas or prevent the formation of heavier downpours.
After a chilly and gloomy stretch, it's finally time to welcome back the sunshine, at least for the western regions. But mornings are still on the chilly to freezing side for many parts of Korea. Those in cooler regions like Paju should feel the change, so please do dress accordingly before heading out. However, the western parts of Korea and Jeju need to be aware of ultrafine dust levels that could go up respectively from early in the day. It should not be too bad, but keep a face mask handy. Afternoon highs will be similar to slightly higher than yesterday, topping out at 10 degrees in Seoul, as well as other major cities this afternoon. But there could be spotty rain in the afternoon in some of the East Coast regions under cloudy skies. Speaking of rain, Jeju will see frequent rain for the next 5 days. The much-awaited spring is knocking on the door, and Korea is finally starting to feel it as temperatures keep climbing. We could have a high of 15 degrees Celsius by next Tuesday here in the capital.
That is all we have for this morning. New Day at Arirang will be back tomorrow at the same time, 10 a.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.
How to survive in Korea. Weddings. Step 0. Attire. As a guest, dress formal to business casual. Avoid wearing all white, shorts or going topless. Step 1. Arrival time. Arrive 30 minutes prior to the wedding ceremony. Too many cars, too many halls, too many people. There are many twists and turns. Take pictures and shake hands. And write your name vertically, not horizontally, in the guest book. Step 2. Or shib, shibor, 50,000 won, 100,000 won, 150,000 won. Cash gifts are given in these units. Decide on the amount based on your relationship. Write your name vertically on the envelope. Step 3. Wedding etiquette. Fill up the front row. Guests have 3 duties to fulfill: clapping, cheering, and taking pictures. Step 4. Dining. Take off your jacket. This will be your seat from now on. Start with the not your everyday delicacies. Kalbichip. Yes. Bosa. Yes. Chili shrimps. Definitely yes. Kimbap. Yeah. Only if you can't live without it. No need to pile up food. You have more than one opportunity. Did you survive the wedding? Wait, did someone catch your eye? What are you waiting for? You're looking fine today.
Curious about what's special about K content?
In recent years, Korean cultural content has taken the world by storm.
So, what's your favorite K content? Movies, dramas, music, exhibitions?
Are you ready to take your pick?
Starting with globally acclaimed K-movies. It's no longer rare for Korean movies to receive awards at international film festivals. And we can't talk enough about the K-drama sensation.
It's not surprising that drama filming sites go on to become major tourist attractions.
When we are on the topic of K-pop, we can't leave out idol groups. They are the driving force of K-pop.
K-pop idol group members do not only have exceptional singing and dancing skills, but they have the looks too. I'm a huge fan.
I really like Korean underground music. These days, talented K-indie bands are recognized overseas as well.
Oh, and Korea also has a lot of music festivals. You can meet musicians of all genres at these events.
Exhibitions happen in Korea all year round.
I also enjoy going to the theatre. There's no shortage of musicals, plays, and performances to choose from. So keep an eye on the theatre scene.
Then there is K-design, blending traditional and modern elements.
K-fashion, leading trends.
K-beauty, which takes beauty to the next level.
K-content, receiving praise the world over. Watch it, experience it, and enjoy it.
We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation. Bring news just for you. It's Thursday, March 6th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and welcome to News Generation. Joining us this Thursday is Cheska Dainhong.
Happy Thursday, everyone.
Happy Thursday. And Grace Park.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. We're going to begin with our keyword news. Our keyword for this Thursday is tradition. Traditional Korean culture is making its way into modern merchandise, and data shows it's more popular than ever. According to the Korea Heritage Agency, sales of products inspired by Korean traditional culture, such as soju glasses featuring genre paintings and bags adorned with traditional patterns, hit a record high of 11.8 billion won last year, which is approximately $8.1 million. The agency says this surge in demand was largely driven by millennials and Gen Z consumers, with sales increasing by 7.2% compared to 2023. So are you also interested in buying these products, and what do you think has made our generation so drawn into these merchandise?
Yeah, honestly, I'm a sucker for traditional goods and souvenirs, and I always pick up a few every time I'm in a different country, just because I think they're unique and you can only get it there. I love traditional Korean trinkets because of the antique designs and beautiful colors, and they actually bring up fond memories of my grandparents' place from when I was younger. And I especially like the Korean fans because they're both beautiful and practical.
Right.
And I love the tage. I don't know if you know that, but it's the really beautiful mother of pearl, like usually white artwork that's on a black background.
Right, so although they're antique and very traditional, they're kind of considered something as really cool and trendy these days. And Cheska, I heard that you brought something to the studio to show our viewers of these actual merchandise.
Yeah, and I'm definitely one of the millennials and Gen Z in the States who buy these kind of trinkets. I even brought one. It's a traditional bookmark. And you can see the way
it's very fleshy.
Yeah, the light glistens, and it's actually a traditional pattern. And I bought this in Insadong. So I definitely contribute to the increase in the sales of these type of goods and services. But I think it's a very unique characteristic of our generation. We love tradition, but we also like a modern twist. And especially if you just walk around, I shop around Insadong a lot, and I marvel at the creative blend of these traditional trinkets with a modern twist. For instance, like I saw a candle holder and like a phone case, even like these notebooks that have a traditional patterns and like palaces on them. So I definitely think it's worth trying out, and I'm quite excited to have more of these trinkets in my collection as well.
Definitely. So if you want to check these items out, you can either visit Insadong, which is in Seoul, that Cheska mentioned, for offline shopping, and for online shopping, you can browse the Korea Heritage Agency's online store, which is www.khmall.or.kr. And that was our keyword news for this Thursday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day. Thursday is when we explore the Korean wave and the global appeal of Korean culture. Take a look at the screen to find out more. Korean convenience stores have come a long way. Once just a quick stop for snacks and drinks, they've now evolved into multifunctional hubs, offering parcels, banking, and postal services. Over the years, South Korea has cemented its status as a global leader in convenience store innovation. Now, these stores are expanding beyond Korea, attracting international tourists and even operating branches overseas. What's fueling this K-convenience store boom? Right, so today we're going to talk about the K-convenience craze that is going global, and we're going to start off by asking our panelists, how often do you go to convenience stores and what do you usually buy or do there?
The reason I'm laughing is I probably go too much, and maybe I shouldn't be going so often.
Like every day?
Yeah. Maybe.
Or multiple times a day?
I was going to say, of course, every day, but sometimes multiple times a day. Because if you're a single household like myself, there's usually a convenience store either in your building or close to your vicinity.
Right.
So it's really accessible. And Korean convenience stores are just fantastic. I mean, usually I go for snacks or even like pre-made meals, packaged milk. But when I travel to different cities, I think this is when I realized the amazingness of convenience stores. I've bought battery charger, contact lens solutions, hand cream, and even medications for like headaches or when I got like period cramps all of a sudden. So everything from like pre-made food to like electronics, amenities, medications, I mean, you name it. It's pretty much everything you can find in these convenience stores.
No wonder they're called convenience stores.
Yeah, they're super convenient. There should be super convenience stores.
So Jessica is a very regular consumer of convenience stores. Is this true to you, Grace, as well?
I'm not maybe as regular as Jessica is, but I do go very early in the morning because there's usually nothing else that's open around the area, but there are a bunch of convenience stores that are open. So yeah, when I go, I usually grab, my morning coffee, sometimes my boiled eggs, and I actually go to the convenience store to send parcels for delivery. So yeah, I mean, Korean convenience stores have so many options first when it comes to food, like I mentioned, boiled eggs, kimbap, roasted sweet potatoes, all types of coffee, even hot bottled beverages. Most of them also have an area where you can send out packaged boxes for delivery, which is super nice because you don't have to go through the hassle of dropping by like a post office or a delivery office. So yeah, I usually use the parcel service when I sell something on 당근 Market, which is the carrot market that is really popular here.
The second-hand shopping platform here in Korea. So with their ever-expanding and around-the-clock services, convenience stores have become an essential part of our busy daily lives, especially here in Korea. So Cheska, just how big of a role do they play and how widespread are they across the country?
I mean, I can speak as an MZ generation, it plays a huge role, but it is actually quite big that a CNN article actually called us, Korea, the quote, global king of convenience stores. I can say as an MZ living in Seoul City, convenience stores are quite crucial and important in our livelihood. There's even a real estate word called 편세권, which is a portmanteau, like a compound word of convenience stores, 편의점, and 세권, which means region or district, meaning the closer your place is to as many convenience stores as possible, the better your location is in terms of real estate and obviously convenience. But if you've ever strolled through Seoul City, you will know the abundance and, quote, the convenience of these convenience stores. So take a look at the screen to see the numbers. Now, the number of convenience stores has been consistently expanding in South Korea, and just last year, we hit more than 55,000. Now, if that number doesn't quite touch you, to give you a frame of reference, that's one store for every 920 Koreans. And while I was doing the research, I was even more shocked to learn that this number is actually more than the McDonald's worldwide.
Wow, worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide, yeah. And we have already outnumbered convenience stores in terms of Japan and Taiwan, which, as we all know, is known for convenience stores.
Right. Definitely. And because of this, even more international news outlets and international media have taken notice of Korean convenience stores. So, Grace, I want to ask you, what aspects of Korean convenience stores do they find most fascinating?
Yeah, like Cheska mentioned, CNN described Korean convenience stores as one-stop shops. And I see why they're calling it that. K-convenience stores can serve as a restaurant, a bar, a post office, a bank even. The typical store has a microwave, a big water pot, and a dining area, so it's basically a cafeteria for quick meals. There's also a variety of beverages, including alcoholic ones, so you can stop by with friends to have a light drink or two. And like I mentioned, it also serves as a post office and even a bank where you can come in and use the ATM to handle urgent or simple financial transactions. And if this isn't enough, since convenience stores operate 24/7, I sometimes see it like a shelter, like when I'm waiting for my bus in extreme weather and I can just pop in inside.
Right, they're warm in the winter, very cool in the summer.
They are very nice. So yeah, just grab some gum and candy while I'm waiting for my bus. And these stores sometimes have a way of making you feel kind of safe.
I can definitely speak from my experience too.
Yeah, and when I've traveled around Korea in more secluded areas, I'm always comforted when I see a convenience store because I know that I can find virtually anything that I need in a convenience store. And the foreign media has praised Korean convenience stores, saying that they are indeed some of the best in the world.
Which is the reason why, for many tourists, visiting a convenience store is now a must-do experience in Korea. Almost like a cultural attraction in itself. So, Cheska, what makes them so unique to international visitors?
I think, for one, it's pretty much in every single K-drama, if you know what I mean. There's at least one scene or multiple scenes that are happening in convenience stores, whether it's romantic or comedic. So kind of like when we would travel to certain spots that appeared in our favorite films, I think with the growing passion for K-contents, including like their favorite K-pop stars, people are trying to track these convenience stores that have appeared in the media. And social media contents. I mean, we have some really creative, delicious, mouth-watering delicacies that people come up with, and I think it's so genius.
Right.
And also, given that the quality of the food in Korean convenience stores is so good, even when you mix them all together, it just becomes better, I think. And I also read this in the CNN article, and I can vouch for this from my own experience. Convenience stores in the States are usually attached to like a gas station, so it's more of a quick stop and go. But Korean stores are not stop and go, but I would say go-to spot. Just like Grace mentioned, they have microwaves, hot water dispenser. So it's like having your little mini kitchen that can provide a whole set of experiences for tourists to make you feel like you are actually part of a K-drama scene.
Definitely. So just gave us a snapshot of what you can expect at standard convenience stores here in Korea, but we're now seeing themed convenience stores popping up to cater to tourists. So Grace, tell us more about these themed convenience stores, and also, are we seeing Korean convenience stores expand in terms of numbers overseas?
Yeah, so some of these stores have very special themes to them, like K-pop or K-beauty. And they are to cater to tourists that want to buy related products or experience more of these types of cultural trends. According to industry insiders, payments made by tourists through WeChat and Alipay in the first half of 2024 are said to have increased by a whopping 250% compared to the previous year at GS25, which is one of the major convenience store franchises here. And thanks to the growing popularity of Korean convenience stores, they're now rapidly expanding overseas. And as of January this year, the number of overseas Korean convenience stores has reached almost 1,500. And I've also heard that there are a lot in Mongolia, actually, which look and feel exactly like the ones that you would see here in Korea.
And Jessica, I heard that you, because last year you mentioned how you visited Mongolia, so could you relate to that?
Yeah, thank you. I was just about to chime in, because I think when I was visiting, one of the most surprising thing, and I mentioned this in the K-Bakery episode also, Korean convenience stores or Korean brand is definitely garnering a reputation as a luxury, because we are well stocked, it's clean, and we have great service. So in Mongolia, when I got off and I was driving through the streets, I was a bit confused because I was seeing too many convenience stores. I wasn't sure if it was in Mongolia or actually traveling through Seoul City. So there are definitely abundance of these brands that are branching out in Mongolia, as Grace mentioned.
Definitely a very interesting phenomenon. Now, for more perspective on what Korean convenience stores offer to global consumers, we're going to invite a young person from Switzerland to our talks after the break. Stay with us.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us this Thursday is Matthew Ambrose, a millennial from Switzerland. Great to see you back on the show, Matthew.
Great to be back.
Great. So Matthew, when did you first visit a Korean convenience store? And please tell us about your first impression and how does it kind of compare to convenience stores in your country?
Well, my first visit really came, I think it was 2 days after I landed in Korea, and that was back in August 2016. And I was dealing with some pretty severe jet lag, having come from, 7 hours behind Korea. So my friend looked at me and said, "No, listen, man, you look terrible. You need a coffee." Because I had a friend who was already living here, and he took me, I think it was, into the blue-colored convenience store, and I was kind of amazed. And the first thing I ever had in Korea from a convenience store was one of those like little metal canned coffees. And I still to this day remember exactly where it was, because it was also, I think, one of the first coffees I ever really had. I wasn't a big coffee drinker at the time. So Korea has made me a bit of a convenience store aficionado as well as coffee. So, yeah.
Matthew, you're self-proclaimed convenience store aficionado. So what do you typically buy, or which services do you use the most? Either it's parcel delivery or ATM, anything you personally recommend to our viewers?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so it's wintertime. If you're in Korea, you got to find that goguma. You got to find that baked sweet potato. They have those special little machines with the hot stones. And on a super cold winter's day, if you're taking shelter, like you said, from those cold winds or bad weather, and you find that they've got those baked sweet potatoes, get them. Also the delivery. Sometimes I have to send stuff out to my friends down in Daegu who still live there, and it's just so easy and convenient to use the postal service there.
So Matthew, are there any features or services from Korean convenience stores that you'd love to see introduced in your own country?
Well, I think by us, we still can't really use convenience stores to pay for bills. So I would love to see that be put in place. I'm pretty sure you can still do that here. And also the delivery service, I believe, is also not a part of it. So it would be nice to see a little bit more of that as well.
All right, Matthew. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.
Always good to be on. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so many say that Korean convenience store food is a game changer. We just heard our guest Matthew mentioning food when we asked about what kind of recommendations that he'd like to make. Right. Because beyond just snacks, these stores have sort of become trendsetters in the food industry. So what are some latest must-try food items? I think that you can chime in to this part of the discussion a lot, Cheska.
Yeah, I would love to. So first of all, definitely the pre-packaged meals. In Korean, we call 도시락. So they are affordable, and given that 1/3 of Korean population are single households, it is a great alternative, and they're also affordable, or even sometimes it's a preferred option for office workers.
Right.
Because I mentioned, Eugene, that I have a convenience store right under my office door, my building, and I see so many office workers coming in during lunchtime picking up these 도시락. They have everything from kimbap, like rolled sushi, to sandwiches, to burgers, pasta, and oh my God, my favorite, the oven roasted sweet potato. And actually in some branches, if you can believe, they even sell fried chicken. So definitely have your pick. But my main thing is, Eugene, you probably know this coming, it's actually dessert. I cannot possibly keep up with the series of dessert that these convenience stores come up with. The selection is wide, abundant, amazing, and YouTubers actually have a whole series of content evaluating these dessert selections, so definitely go for it.
And Grace, I heard that there are also very unique and very fresh new recipes that we can try out using food items that are being sold at convenience stores that have become viral, right?
That's right. Many Korean celebs have garnered attention by introducing their own unique combinations of convenience store foods, and one of them is GOT7 member Mark's Mark Set Meal, which has now become a K convenience store classic. You just mix a spaghetti ramyeon and instant tteokbokki, which are spicy rice cakes, and then you top it off with some sausage and cheese. Other combinations that are trending these days also include mixing the buldak spicy noodles, which was trending for a while because of its insane spiciness, and then you mix it with the mungeran, which is basically crushed boiled eggs. So I'm guessing this counteracts the spiciness. There's also mandu gratin, which is basically dumplings baked in creamy and cheesy sauce.
That sounds really delicious.
I know.
Oh my God.
Or my personal favorite, sarigomtang noodle, which is like this rich beef bone soup broth with some dumplings in them. And some convenience stores have their own private labels as well, which are worth trying too. The most recent one I tried this past weekend actually is a bag of potato chips created by a celebrity chef that was on Culinary Wars on Netflix. Yeah, and her name is Imokase. And her face was on the potato chip packaging, so I was like, okay, I have to try it. And the chips were so delicious. They were flavored with sesame oil and perilla oil, which is it's like a very unique Korean taste. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was
How
really
far can these food items go?
I know.
They seem to be limitless.
And there was a tiramisu with chestnut flavor that became very popular too, right?
Thanks to Culinary Class War.
I think it was sold out in almost all the branches, so people were like lining up just to get them.
So this is indeed another example. Now we also asked our viewers what convenience store foods or snacks they'd love to try. We're going to take a look at 3 responses. Our first response for this Thursday is by MH10DS. I love 삼각김밥 bibimbap. All you need are your favorite 삼각김밥 and a spoon of gochujang and then mix. It's simple, filling, and delicious. You can also add 볶음 kimchi, sausage, eggs, or enjoy it with 컵라면. Benny D97 suggests 새우깡, 양파 rings, and strawberry milk because I like to compare them to our local ones in the Philippines. Our final suggestion for this Thursday is Q WIZJ84398 ice cream 붕어빵. Very interesting and good suggestions from our viewers. Thank you so much. And ending off, for those visiting a Korean convenience store for the first time, do you have any tips or recommendations so that they can get the most out of their experience?
I think our viewers gave us pretty good recommendations.
They're so creative.
Yeah, there were some recommendations that I would actually like to try. But as the name goes, it is supposed to be, quote, convenient. But if you struggle with using certain equipment or figuring out how to eat, always ask. And there's a lot you can actually do at the store. As Grace mentioned, we can send packages, buy umbrella, charge or purchase your Metro card, even buy like recycling trash bags and food waste bag, which is really important if you're living in Korea. So do a little bit of research before you go, and then you'll get more out of these convenience stores.
And if you have any more questions, you can ask Cheska.
Send them to me, send them my way.
Right, what about you, Grace?
Yeah, Korean convenience stores truly offer something for everyone. You can find all types of people inside, young and old, male and female, locals and tourists. So don't be intimidated and just walk in with an open mind to try out new foods. Maybe you could even get creative by mixing and matching foods to get your very own creation.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that wraps up our discussion about Korean convenience stores and also this episode of News Generation. But we will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Cheska Dain-ha.
Pleasure's always mine. Thank you.
Thank you. And Grace Park.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you tomorrow on Friday. We are News Generation.
How to survive in Korea. Workplace. Step 1. Lunchtime. The most important morning routine is to check today's menu. Food is essential for survival. Memorize today's menu. The highlight of office life. Lunchtime. Rice in the bottom left, soup in the bottom right. The top is for the sides. The sauce and the spoon go here. This is the basic layout, but it's a bit odd to switch rice and soup. When you're done, pour the leftovers into the soup bowl. It doesn't look that appetizing, so wait until others are done eating. Step 2. Neng, nep, nenep. These are the most used expressions at work. Choose the most appropriate form. Neng, nep, nenep. Remember that the formal ne can sound a bit stiff. Did you just say yes? Absolutely not acceptable. You want to find the right word for the right occasion. Step 3. Desteria. Desteria is the oasis in the desert. Show them your character. If you're not the diligent type, get a stooky plant. Work is tough. Laugh and the whole world laughs with you. Weep and you weep alone. Stay put, like the stooky that survives in the desert. Hang in there until the end. Of course, you can always quit. You matter more than anything else. Step 4. Survival kit. Every worker needs a survival kit. Survival kit level 1. This position gets the most exposure. Grab one when you need a sugar boost. Always keep a few treats you can